What? Okay, all
Speaking of
right.
right, speaking
Um,
of we were just talking about
yeah.
analog stuff, and then all of a sudden I add this droid that comes in now recording. It's Craig. It's not. He's a little bear. It's nothing. Don't worry
Oh,
about
it's
it. He's
that's what they said
safe.
about the Ewoks, and
It's just a little
it's
bear.
just a
It's
little
not gonna hurt
bear.
anybody.
The last thing the stormtrooper said on Endor.
You know what? My God, I have to share this with you. First of all, okay. I have DISO. I have Holoscan database on the pod today. Okay, and it's 7 a.m. for me. It is 11 p.m. for you on two separate days. So how better to start a Star Wars podcast than like being in two different like time zones in two different parts of the galaxy. But what I was saying is that we were talking about analog stuff, and I invited Craig in. But you know what my wife said? Turned to me the other day randomly. She said, "We saw this dog on TikTok that was dressed up as Chewbacca, right? And this you'll like this, right? You're from Kashyyyk.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
This little dog has a little costume, dressed as Chewbacca, and then she's like, is that one of yours, right? Asking me as like, is that one of yours? She knows who Chewbacca is that one of yours?" And
Yeah.
I was like, yeah, you mean like Chewbacca?" And she's like, and then she like turns to me a bit more and she goes, "Is he the king of the Ewoks?" And I was like,
Oh,
"What are you
no.
talking about?" I was like, "What are you talking about?" And she's like, "Yeah." And I'm like, "He's so big. Like, he doesn't look anything like them." And she's like, "Yeah, right. Like, he's the biggest one. So is he the king of the Ewoks or
He's like
not?"
the alpha. He's like the alpha
Yeah.
Ewok. That's what she's saying. The
He's-
disrespect.
yeah. I was like, "Oh my God." Anyway, sorry for starting out
No,
that
you're good.
way. How are you doing? How are
I'm
you?
I'm doing well. I'm busy as usual, but it's kind of what happens when we slowly creep into May. So that's kind of what happens with all of us.
Okay. Okay. Do you see? Okay, that's really interesting. Do you see like a an actual pickup in well, let's say what it is, right? In shoots and stuff, and a little bit of business maybe in these months leading up to like May the 4th, like with Star
I,
Wars stuff. I know it's a out there question, but
yeah, I think absolutely. I definitely notice a difference. It's kind of like the holiday season, what people call it, but like it's, May 4th is kind of the an unofficial official Star Wars holiday. So people
right.
tend to get into the vibe. They want to do more stuff. A lot of events that we know about and friends that we know, they're doing a bunch of really cool stuff around
Yeah.
that time. So yeah, absolutely.
Oh, that's really that's interesting. Um, I would imagine that it's sort of like that, like ramping up to like I don't know, major conventions or something. Obviously, people want to do stuff. Ramping up to major events, people want to do stuff, so that like also affects like how busy you are. We should say for the people listening, if you don't already know, um, the ISO from Holoscan Database, an amazing photographer. What? Such a good shooter. You're also whenever I talk to anyone about you, I always say you're always so humble. I'm always so appreciative and so like amazed by your work, and I will tell you freely, and you will not accept it. And I completely get it. Like I completely understand. Like some people, you know, are like that, and you are very humble, which is part of what makes you you. Um, but you are really good at what you do, and we all very much appreciate you for hanging out with us.
Thank you. I think what I've told other people too is that like I do this specific thing, very niche thing, that kind of just fell together in the perfect harmony of the universe and galaxy, and we all met and all that awesome stuff that happened a few years back. The fact that I get to create meaningful stories and highlight characters that people put so much of themselves into and so much detail in their costuming and their props. It's as much important to me, and it's one of the coolest things to see a part of of a person in their costuming. So it's a delight.
Oh, yeah, yeah, yeah. So what actually, what was your start with photography? Like when did you? fall in love with it, and then maybe we can find the intersect between when you fell in love with costuming and characters.
Yeah, I think it has a lot to do with what I do now. So my family, we grew up, we were movie buffs. We would
Yeah.
talk in lines of movies. My wife makes fun of me because she's like, you don't remember people's names, but you can remember a whole monologue in a movie, and that's kind of how I grew up remembering things.
Yeah.
And I think that's kind of initially what got me interested in that facet of like costuming and props, and always watching movies and being interested of like how did they do that, how did they make that
Yeah.
to a reality. So falling into Star Wars at a very young age, watching it on the box set, the three
Yeah.
trilogy box set on VHS. It would it
Did you have the
it's
gold one, or did you have the gold
so,
box set
so
that
so
has
the
like a
funny thing is,
He-Man somewhere?
yeah, the funny thing is, I think my brother might have owned it. I don't
Right.
think we actually even owned it, but a friend of ours that was kind of she would take care of me and a few other kids that we knew growing up. Her son was kind of like our big brother-ish kind of
Yeah, of
kid, and he was,
course.
you know, teenager to high school at that time. So he'd be hanging out with us and stuff, and he loved Star Wars. And I remember he would put on VHS, and he would just be
Yeah.
like, "Oh yeah, let's go watch Star Wars." So for me,
Oh, so did he was he the one that sort of initiated you into it? Like, that's
he kind
yeah,
I want to say he kind of was. He was a big part of why I was exposed to it. But
yeah,
my older brother, which is around his age too, grew up in the same generation, so he even more uh, encouraged
yeah,
that fandom to me. Like my brother was like, "Oh man, I love Star Wars and Jedi's and all these things." So it was just a big part of our growing up.
yeah. And what was it, what was, I've been asking people just because 'cause I'm curious, but what was your costuming like, and when I say costuming, I mean, like, what was your relationship to, like, Halloween and dressing up as a kid? Like, do you have a favorite costume that you had as a kid? And it could be, anything. It doesn't have to be obviously. I just,
Yeah,
like to see the origins of, like, costuming.
yeah. The funny thing is, I didn't grow up celebrating celebrating Halloween.
Okay.
So one thing that my mom would do, because she's like, "Oh, you see these kids dressing up and all these things." I remember like any kid, you like to play, and
Yeah.
I I remember buying like a really cheap Batman costume
Okay.
at a like just like a normal Halloween store, and I
Yeah.
remember walking around the house and playing Batman and continually buying costumes when I was a kid because I'm like,
Yeah.
oh, I want to play and I want to be this character and I want to live in their
Yeah.
shoes or something. So I think that's where it started, and then in adulthood, I think I fell into it a little bit more. Went to a
Yeah.
few
Yeah.
cons. Well,
Yeah, just
even
a
e
bit more than running around the living room. Yeah, I would assume so. You're out in the world now
yeah,
doing it. Yeah. But that's
yeah,
really interesting that it was an aspect of play for you because of course, like, when we're kids, we're always imagining stuff, we're always imagining worlds. I would say, like, a lot of the times you'll find kids kind of, this, for lack of a better term, almost playing like the overlord, like it's playing all these characters, and like they'll have like action figures or something like that. And of course, kids will then, get dressed up for a party, or Halloween or anything like that, and then, keep the costume. You see kids all the time. Like, sometimes you'll spot them at the supermarket or something. You'll see a little kid dressed as Spider-Man or something. That kid was obviously, playing at home and being Spider-Man at home, and they were like, "We've got to run an errand. We're not going to change you out of this. You're fine. You'll be Spider-Man." Going and getting groceries. So it's really interesting that it was an aspect of play because it kind of remained that for you even into adulthood, right?
yeah, yeah. I went to conventions later on. Like I said, my brother and people I grew up with were into comic books and movies and fandoms. So I did go to conventions, and I remember a few times I cosplayed as some comic book characters and stuff like that. So I always enjoyed costuming aspect, the creative
Yeah.
aspect of that. And you know, fast forward later after the pandemic, like I hyper fixated on this like
Yeah.
Batu bounding and this, Galaxy's Edge, and that you can really live in Star Wars. And that was something that I always imagined as a kid. Like, oh man, can you imagine if someone built this gigantic set
Oh,
in place and we could walk in these streets of these amazing worlds?
yeah.
So I think as that ramped up and people were getting into it, we kind of found each other, and we were just like, hey, we're the weird kids, and it was like the best thing in the world that we use the costuming aspect of that to really
Yeah.
tell part of something we're interested in.
That's that's amazing. What would you say is your the favorite your most favorite time that you've been out in a costume? Like was it a convention? Was it an event? Was it younger when you were doing kind of superhero stuff, or was it now?
Yeah, I think as a kid, it was Batman. Like the Batman Jam was
Yeah.
was my he's like one of my
Yeah.
favorite characters. So it was just the play with that, running around my house, getting in trouble as usual, scaring my mom half to death because, she thought I was an intruder. But
Oh my
it was just that. And I think now with, my OC and D, I implemented a lot of those attributes of characters that I was interested in into my own character.
yeah.
So and like, kind of going on with what you were asking, when's my favorite time? I'm 35 years old and I'm having the most fun now, which is crazy because I will
Figured
go
as much.
I will go out and be in full cosplay and go to different locations I find interesting and tell a story, and it's so fun. Like I
Yeah.
have zero yeah, I don't feel self-conscious about it. It's just
Yeah,
like,
I think
why not?
yeah, for me there's an aspect of like when you meet up with people that are, in cosplay now, they've put so much care and attention to their costumes that it almost it makes you feel in two sides of the coin like much more welcome for you coming in a costume as well, but also like you feel the love radiating through their builds, and it's like, "Oh, this is gonna be a great time." Like, when we did, Cantina crossover, I attended your Cantina crossover, um, it was that, right? People were just so stoked to be dressed up, and then also looking left and right and seeing other people dressed up, and then you're like, "Oh, this is, like, actually happening." It feels so great. So what would you say is your costuming superpower if you had one? If you had to choose.
Um,
I think
costuming
we all have
superpower.
at least one.
Well, like, give me an example.
Well, I was talking to Jason, Jedi Master Maul, yesterday, and he was saying that weathering is probably his superpower. I would agree. He's kind of incredible at it. I would say we were talking about it on the same episode, and I would say that for me, it's probably styling, like head to toe, like styling a costume. Putting on little details and things like that, just to kind of bridge that gap from like a base to something that has like something else.
Yeah.
So something like that, yeah,
I think, oh, this one's funny too because I think I just recently figured this one out. So I've mentioned it before that I don't like, and it's just maybe just me. I don't like carrying things that don't make sense. Like
yep,
I don't even in my day-to-day life, I have very minimal stuff like my
yeah,
camera gear, everything. I try to keep it to like concise because it
yeah,
bothers me to have too much.
yeah,
So with my OC, I've slowly started to integrate things at work. I have a flashlight that works. I have I call it like my, it's kind of like supposed to be like this atmospheric, like box on
yeah,
my bag.
yeah,
It's supposed to like make me breathe in whatever.
yeah,
But the idea is that it's a fan. It's like a little cooling fan that it's on my bag, or
yeah.
so just things like that. I think the last one I did is I took my remote for my
Yes,
camera
I
that
saw that. I remember.
yeah,
Yeah, that's so cool.
and I have on the strap of my bag. Um, there's like I basically put in like a magnetic panel in there, and I
Yeah,
used to have like a normal greebly, and the other day I was looking at it, and I'm like, it's kind of
it's-
it looks weird enough. where it's
Yeah.
like I had these little notches on it, these and I was like, "I'm just gonna paint this and then
Yeah.
add magnets to the back." And then basically I could click my camera, throw it back on, you won't notice
Yeah.
it at all, and then it's built into my costume, so I don't have to dig for it in my pockets.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. Yeah. Oh, that's great, and I'm glad that you brought that up because that's one of the things that we want to talk about, and I'll talk about how the pod is changing a bit. Right, you'll notice that Kate isn't here if you're listening. She's still with us. Wait, I don't know why I said that like that. um she's slammed for time, you know what I mean? So I'm doing some episodes to get to get the ball rolling. We took a little bit of a break, and we're having people on. We're changing to a monthly format, right? I think twofold so that people um don't feel like they're desperately trying to catch up with a yet another thing. We all have shows, we all have jobs, we all have other podcasts we listen to. So I don't ever want to feel like I'm giving people homework if they want to support. So one a month I think is fine, makes it easy for everyone all around. um yeah. But going back to your character and why like I wanted to talk to people, because this is what should have been the original kind of concept for the show. Is we bring people on to talk about costuming, talk about it like in full, from how they build stuff, but also from like their past with costuming. I've been asking that question about like how was your kid life in a costume? How does that translate to what you're doing today? But going back to your character, tell me about de-ISO. What I love is that you have the been adding things like you were saying, little by little, and even that sort of headpiece holoscanner bit that you recently added, which I think is brilliant. But you have that quiet confidence to sort of build a character and then continue to add these pieces that absolutely make sense. Tell me about him as a character. Tell me about his backstory.
Yeah, so those of you don't know, so DISO is essentially he's a denizen, he's throughout the galaxy, he travels a lot, and, he's a holoscanner, so that makes him let's say, the Star Wars version of a photographer, of a journalist, of what have you. Hence why he's always coming across very specific scenes and very dramatic things and different characters. And there's kind of a running joke about the fact that why is D always in trouble because he's always in these interesting scenarios. So
It does keep the galaxy alive because you're always in the middle of something and you're like, wow, how is he always there to capture this moment? Is he
it's like
causing it? Yeah.
it's like when Peter Parker takes pictures of Spider-Man and they're like,
Mhm.
how do you always get Spider-Man? No one else can get him. And it's like, well, it's him. So yeah, so that's essentially the my general backstory is that his family was rebels at the time of like the original trilogy. There's not much detail, but the fact that he was found as a very young boy on the planet of Kashyyyk. He was with family, questionably. Like we don't know what happened or who family or whatever happened. He was in a data collection facility that they were working from that was collecting data for the rebels, and it was destroyed by the Empire. Essentially, everyone dies, and D is left alone. Very Mowgli, very Tarzan.
Yeah.
As I said it, I laugh. I'm like, I didn't think I was going to write that, but it's kind of that's the fact. D would have died on that planet, being the fact that Kashyyyk is very dangerous and there's a lot of predators there. The fact that a tribe of passing Wookiees find him and bring them into his fold and train him kind of as their own. Hence why he can climb up things, he can
Yeah.
sneak around, he can do all those things that a Wookiee would, but he's a third of a Wookiee size. So
Not the king of the Ewoks.
no,
Right. That's really great that you've woven all of that into it because it really does explain like what you do, especially in the community as a photographer. Some of the things you got to do, you got to crouch down, you got to get up on things, you have to get that shot. I've seen you work and it's great. But you've incorporated that into your character and into the mobility of the character and what he should look like and how he should carry things for purpose and keep them at arm's length, right? Because what he wouldn't be a good hollow scanner if he wasn't able to sort of snap a pic in just a second, right?
Yeah.
By taking that remote off of his strap, of his bag strap, right?
And a lot of it is it's it's kind of an excuse too to make my job easier because most of the time I go to events or doing a photo shoot and I'm getting photos of
Yeah,
myself along with other people. I I need to make it quick because it's
yeah,
hard. Oh my gosh, it's hard to do photography and be in costume. Like it's just
I bet.
it's difficult. So I've had to make my costume work for functionality, and it's very comfortable to wear. And if anything, it feels very similar to what I would wear on a daily. It's just obviously we got more layers and stuff like that and gear.
Yeah. And so can you and I don't know, we'll link this somehow. This is also just audio now. we're not we're not recording video. If you'll notice that there is no picture on the screen. But I think it's to get these sort of more natural conversations. But what I wanted to ask is, can you talk to me about that new sort of mask piece? Like, because you know,
Yeah, yeah, absolutely. So that is in universe, it's a HUD for D to basically jack into the wait, did I lose you? Hold on.
no, 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 no.
Okay, cool, cool. No, it looked like it froze on my side. Okay,
Yeah, it does. Yeah, it does. But I can. Your still audio's on.
okay. So essentially, it's a HUD for D to jack into the Holoscan database network. It's kind
Hmm.
of a weird cyberpunk, Star Warsy, like I also think of it like the Matrix, where
Yeah,
Neo and everybody they jack in and they have to kind of do something where it's a little heavier. It's not something that he could just log into. He has to get
yeah,
deeper into a network. So there's that piece. Then he can also do different things like binocs. It can zoom in and stuff like that.
yeah.
But the interesting part about that, I'm glad you brought it up. So, Star Wars has a long legacy of using things that exist in our world
Yep.
and putting it into their world. And even
Oh, yeah.
recently, we've seen props and toys being brought into the
Yep.
galaxy. It's a toy that is Star
Oh, is it?
Wars.
Yeah,
It
yeah.
is.
Okay.
So the other day, I mean, around the time I made it, my wife and I were big thrifters. We were thrifting for, pieces, random stuff, and I'm looking for Swarzy stuff all the time.
Yeah.
We're walking through, and I see, and I'm excited to say this because I know people are going to start building it now because it's accessible and it exists out in our world.
Yeah.
We were looking through a bunch of stuff, and I see a few boxes, and there's these big boxes with Star Wars logos on it. And my wife runs over to me. She's like, "You gotta check this out. I don't know what it is, but go check it out."
Oh,
Run by this big box, and it looks like a video game. I'm like, "Oh, it's like a VR headset. This is pretty
okay.
cool."
Yeah.
Initially, we were just gonna buy it for just to play with. So there was a few of them, and I think they were under $10 each. It's a huge box. It had like a lightsaber handle in it. They're plastic, but like everything it had, it was like a full VR box set. Thing's huge. It's like getting
Okay.
like a video game console.
Yeah.
So we snag them. I think I got like two. And then we bring them home, and we ended up finding out later that it is an app. That it's for Jedi training, and it was on mobile devices, but it no longer works
Oh,
because
no, the app is gone, so people
the
can't
app is
use them.
exactly
Oh,
the app is gone. And I'm like, oh,
no.
that sucks. My wife goes,
I
oh, that sucks. I'm sorry, I didn't know. And I'm like, no, it's fine. I go, I think I can make something with this. I've
yeah.
been looking for something that looks like a
Yes, you
visor, like a
have.
HUD.
Yeah.
So like I said, Galaxy just brings it right back to you, and I
I
laughed.
know. I can't believe that
Yeah,
it's an actual Star Wars thing. I love it. I can't I can't describe it online, but we'll link to you and people can see it. Wait, have you even posted it yet? You haven't shot it yet, have you?
no, I haven't. And I gotta get that.
Oh, I'm
Oh,
so
you're
excited to see what you're gonna do with that. It's
oh,
such a
you're right.
perfect addition um to your character because there's so much about like the optics of your character, right? Being able to see and being able to see well, and adding a piece like that, like you have your holo scanner, but you also have like um, Binox or whatever, or Minox, not Minox,
Inox
Mononox.
are the bats.
Yeah, exactly, Mononox. You have those kinds of things, and it makes a lot of sense for your character to carry. So to add something like that, I think really heightens it. It also, well, I mean, now we know it's a Star Wars product, right? But it also looks like really in universe, and it looks very background character. Like it's really, I loved it because it's really, really, really starting to feel like that weirdo background character that's wearing like an odd thing that walks by. It happens every movie, it happens every show where it's like, wait, wait, what was that? What was that? What was that guy wearing? And you see the first split second, you try to go through every screenshot, and all you get is like a blurry like shot of whatever the hell they were wearing, right? So when I saw it, I was like, that's it. That's it. That's the holo scanner. Like that's what they look like. So that was amazing. Yeah, it was
Yeah,
a
so
really great addition.
the funny part about it is like that's how you can tell that Star Wars design, it moves throughout
Yeah,
everything. Concept art, you see toys, you see all these things. So when I found that piece, I modified it. Obviously, I
yeah,
removed like a blast shield on it that looked like a bubble, like, kind of like a very VR, like
yeah,
Google headset, and I didn't like it. I
yeah,
removed some stuff. I modified some things, painted it, obviously.
yeah.
I ended up modifying inside in the interior, the top part. There's a place where the phone would go before, and it would like
Uh-huh.
reflect a hologram or like the game in front of you because it was like a VR with a lightsaber.
Sure.
So what I did is I flipped the mirror around, and then I
Okay.
did the trick where sometimes if a lot of like Disney, a lot of FX places will do it, where you'll place a mirror and at like a 75-degree angle, and it will show something that's under you or above you and show it
Yeah,
straight on. I basically found like a template. I made like what a HUD would look like,
yeah,
and then I basically did that, framed it correctly. Now, when I slide I have an old iPhone. I slide it in there just for that. It
yeah.
reflects it through the front, so it looks like there's this hologram visor
Oh,
in front of you.
that's so cool. I
Um,
haven't seen that
s
in action yet. That's amazing.
yeah, I gotta show you. I'll probably, like I said, when I do post, I'll definitely do it.
Oh, I'm
Um,
so excited. I'm so excited. Yeah, that's so cool. I'm gonna have to look for one. I want to see what it looks like as a toy. You know what I mean? Because
yeah.
that's like also the wonderful part of like what we do, right? Taking these things and transforming them, right? Everyday objects. You do that a lot. Like I know people know you for your pictures and for your character, but I've always wanted to ask you about your like prop work because you're building that little room, which I have no idea where it is, right? I can't picture where you would have a space like that.
Uh,
But maybe don't tell me. Maybe the mystery, like maybe it should remain a mystery because it looks like you're at a treetop in Kashyyyk. Okay, so it's amazing, right? All these little texture elements. But yes, talk to me about your prop making because you also do like some plants and things in containers, and it's always wonderful work. Yeah.
Oh, thank you. So for that set, I mean, I could tell you, but I think it's too funny that you don't know what it is, so
No,
I
no, I
shouldn't.
almost don't want to know. Like, I have
Yeah.
no idea if this is outside of your
Mm.
home, if you do have a tree house, and everyone knows it, like, but I don't know. I missed the chat the day that you were like, "Hey guys, I'm redoing my tree house to look like Kashyyyk," and I missed that, and everyone knows, and I'm like, "Where is this?" Like,
So the weird inspiration behind that is that I wanted, I mean, I didn't really have a space to do video that looked in
mhm.
universe. I don't have a big, garage and stuff like that, which it would be great to, but where we live, we don't. So,
I'm gesturing
um,
that I'm taking garage off the list as what I thought it
not
was.
garage.
Okay.
So, so what I ended up doing is, the in-universe story is that I wanted D to have like a bat cave, like
Yeah, yeah,
his
yeah.
lair, his somewhere he has to go hide, and what if the Empire is chasing him down?
Or
Where does he
sleep.
go?
You just need somewhere to sleep, you know? Like, you
Yeah,
have to have a home base.
yeah, and then it leans into fun little mini stories of like,
Yeah.
like you said, like where does he sleep? Where does he eat? What does he do? Like just further. fleshing out a character and showing
Yeah.
these minute details about him. So, anyways, the location is supposed to be a shipment container that he
Okay.
retrofitted. So basically, D has this like, you would find it on a ship on a
Mhm.
freight somewhere, but
Yeah.
it's labeled as something else always. So today it's Melu runs, today it's whatever, and
Oh, I
he's
love that.
he's constantly paying people that like, hey, I'm gonna, at the end of the night, I sneak in here and I sleep here, and then I go to the next place.
Yeah.
But no one ever really knows where, he ends up going
Yeah.
because it's always on the move and he can move his home with him.
That is brilliant. I am I am floored for this bit of de-iso lore. I love it. I can't tell you enough. Like that is so cool. I always think about how people are moving through the galaxy and those kinds of things that you can um, add to a character. Like you have to know like what they're like. What do they eat like? You know, do they eat hurried? Do they sit down and enjoy a meal? Do they lean back and kind of savor the moment more than the actual like nourishment? Like what are they like, right? Those are the kinds of things that I think about when I'm building a character. Whenever somebody asks me like, oh, how should I like build my story or build my character, I always try to tell them that like try to imagine them in those quiet moments. Like what are they like? Because that's going to inform the character more than trying to tell me about this epic story of that they were, I don't know, some kind of hero and like liberated their village, which is fine. That's great too. I love stories like that, right? Of course. But if you can tell me how a character sits when they're anxious or when they're comfortable, how they walk when they're under peril, or when they're at ease. What do they wear when they're not out in the world, like when they're just like getting some shut eye on their ship. Like if you can tell me that about a character, I feel like you can then place that character in any scenario and be able to guide them through the story. You know what I mean? If you know the person, you will know how they behave in the world, right? And that's what I tell people, like that. That's what makes it for me. That's what makes like coming up with a story easier. Who is this person? You know?
Yeah, yeah, it's funny that you said that because it's like I think about it, at least for my character. Um, I've been playing Outlaws recently, and I was like
Oh,
last on the boat,
oh
but
no!
I'm finally
Oh,
I'm
I
finally
wish I was
playing it.
there. I wish I could erase it from my brain and then play it all again.
When I was playing that game, a big part of that universe or that story specifically is that the character playing as is constantly moving throughout the galaxy, and
Mhm.
she's got her own ship and stuff. And I thought, would my character have a ship? And I
Right.
wouldn't. I don't think I would. I would jump on other ships and I would
Yeah.
do other things, but I think having a ship is too obvious for my
Yeah.
character because my character isn't a soldier,
Yeah.
per se. I gather information, find out things that I shouldn't know. So I
Right.
feel like I would definitely have to be very, stealthy and
Mobile.
yeah, the
Got to keep it moving.
espionage a
Yeah.
bit. Yeah, like,
Yeah.
the secret door, having
Yeah.
those things that and we've kinda nerded out. You've told me before that you're into, like, espionage and
Oh.
knowing, like, old facts about spies and stuff like that. So
Yeah.
that makes sense to me. It's like, well, where does he go? How did he vanish? Like, how does Bruce Wayne vanish? Like,
Yeah.
where does he go? So, yeah, it's just kind of like you're hiding in plain sight, which is fun.
Yeah, I'm still. You really threw something at me. It was like that hit me like a kick in the chest. The idea that he kind of lives in a shipping container that the label or the branding or the paint of it on the outside always keeps changing. It's almost like I don't know. It's almost like those old spy movies where people will change like the magnetic thing on the side of a van to be from like I don't know, a flower company, and then they take it off and it's, I don't know, the CIA or some shit, uh, or something like that. I love that aspect that you are kind of hidden in plain sight by you know by by getting in with all this freight that's traveling around the galaxy. Um, so I wanted to ask you because you brought up Batman a few times. Even when talking about this new little room build, which I don't know where it is. Um, um, what would you say are your inspirations from outside of Star Wars?
Um, I think I have a very, and I think that's a good question because I can vividly like imagined a lot
Yeah,
of things that inspire me. Um, I already said Batman.
yeah,
I've always been interested in sci-fi, but cyberpunk stories, uh,
yeah,
just these worlds of like the Matrix and this kind of this very gritty, futuristic world
yeah. A bit
where
dystopian, right? Like,
yeah, yeah.
yeah,
And I think a lot of it, like I'm a huge fan of Cowboy Bebop, which is like an older anime.
yeah.
I grew up. I think one of the first animes I ever watched, and I watched it much too young. I think one of my cousins, his uncle, got a copy of it, and we watched Akira
Yeah.
um, before we should have. We were
Right.
kids watching that movie, and I remember like vividly, like I probably did some stuff to me that
Oh,
I
no.
shouldn't have seen it. But
There's
it,
some
but
trauma in there that led to, like, what you like,
yeah,
yeah.
yeah. But the imagery was so powerful. It did something beautiful where I was really enthralled in these worlds and what if this was this or how do these people live and I think all of those worlds feel very futuristic, but they also feel
Yeah,
very grounded. They feel
yeah,
like real people live in there. They're not just, you know, they're not just these heroes all the time. And I think I tend to stray away from the hero, quote unquote.
yeah,
I think they're great. And our main stories of the fandom we're into are big heroes.
yeah.
I don't want to be that character. I
Right.
want to be the person that, like you said, that weird character that was in the background that's, sneaking by a cantina or something
Yeah,
like
I
that.
can see like D in like Dayu or something, something that feels very cyberpunk or lower levels of Coruscant, a lot of neon and things like that. Yeah, it would slot in perfectly. But then again, like, you're so much of a ghost as well. Like, you don't have what I would call like identifying like sort of things. You're not a Mandalorian, so people can't sort of point you out by like what your armor looks like or anything like that. You can blend in. So I love that, and those are the characters that I love. I think that's why we do what we do specifically. Like Burgundy Squadron and all that stuff. Like, it's to build these background characters that we want to make people stop and have to like scrounge the internet for screenshots of that one character that appears for 2.5 seconds.
Yeah, and I think that's where going on with costuming is that a huge inspiration for me is Star Wars has one of the best concept art that
Oh,
is
yeah,
out there. So whenever we have bits of concept art, like we tell stories, but these rich characters and designs are so beautiful, and they also tell you a
mhm,
lot. Like you may see a character where I guarantee you, I can think off the top of my head. There's concept art from fandom that is very closely resembles what I've made because it's
yeah,
like that is that style, but it's not that character. So
right,
you can look through concept art and these pieces that been beautifully designed and pull pieces of yourself pull like I
yeah,
like that, I like those boots, I like how this feels, and once you wear those things
mhm.
you're going to sift out what actually makes sense and what doesn't, because some things you may think looks cool and you put it on you're like this is uncomfortable, or i don't
Yeah,
i don't like this thing,
yeah,
and you slowly find yourself in there.
yeah. Yeah, it's a little bit of a journey, right? I go through that as well, with like what I do, like on Instagram and stuff. I'm always showing like every iteration of a character, and sometimes they take me, years. And there is, I feel like just as much as we celebrate people that can like, make amazing things and kind of turn around a costume in a week, like that to me is incredible. But I also do think that there's um, some great aspects to people that refine a costume over a long period of time. I think there's something that ultimately there's no race, and this is what we enjoy to do. So, for me, I always want to be upgrading and working on my characters, not just race to finish them. And then where am I, right? Because what I want to do is make style costumes and build costumes and paint stuff. If I run to the finish line too quickly, then what do I do?
Yeah. And
You know?
kind of going on that note, it's specifically, I mean, I'm sure other fandoms are like this too, but specifically Star Wars, everything's lived in, everything has
Mhm.
its story, and if you have a piece or you have something that is your character through time of wearing it, like I just recently had to stitch up my pants, right? So I
Yeah,
got some wax thread
yeah,
from a fabric store. I love the fact that one, wax thread is like super durable. The thing's not going to break at
yeah.
all.
They're usually linen, not always, but they're usually linen. It's actually used a lot for bookbinding. Yeah,
Oh, okay. Oh, I
yeah,
didn't know you're into bookbinding. That's
yeah,
cool.
yeah, yeah,
So I stitched up my pants, and granted, it's relatively thick and it's kind of chunky,
yeah,
and you can see it. It doesn't hide well, but that's
yeah,
kind of the point. Is you want to show these stitches, and you can repair your costume as you're
yeah.
wearing it, and it just gives more character and more detail
Texture.
of the
Yeah,
storytelling. When I was, I think, because I'm obviously into like behind the scenes stuff and films and stuff like that, I'm a big movie
mhm.
nerd. So I remember watching some of the costume pieces for Blade Runner 20, what was it?
Oh,
20, the second one. I forget the
yeah.
number, but it was
Yeah. What is the number?
2040,
2048?
49. I think it's right. But
2049. People are screaming at us right
I
now.
know.
They're like, "Who are you?"
How dare you?
Yeah, whatever.
Um,
It's like in a
but I was
couple of years.
there. They were showing Ryan Gosling's character, his detective
Yeah,
character,
I love the
and
the visuals of that
oh
movie.
yeah, and I remember they were going through, his outfit's relatively simple. Like he's got pants, boots,
Mhm.
but they're very signature. They're very specific
Yeah.
designs where you're like, oh, I know who that is.
Well, the
And
ja the jacket is actually really complex. Have you ever seen, oh my god, his name just fell out of my brain, but, Adam Savage, he made the jacket or had it
oh,
partly commissioned, but then he, like, weathered it and stuff, like, it's actually a really interesting
oh,
construction and everything. The collar is like asymmetrical. It goes from like, I believe so. If I'm remembering correctly, it's kind of they're different lengths and it has that fur. And he gets into it. If you ever like if you really love that coat, you should watch him because he talks about like the fur and what you have to do to sort of weather that stuff and it I feel like it couldn't be fur. It had to be like a shearling so that it looks a little more sci-fi. Anyway, it's great. And it's a great jacket. Yeah.
it's cool. I mean, and it makes sense. Every Ryan Gosling movie needs a good jacket. Like
Oh yeah.
we know the guy. Like they always have to suit him in a rat
That's why
jacket
they cast him for
for
Starfighter. They're like,
Starfighter.
we need a guy that looks great in a jacket, and they were like, you know what? Let's call Ryan.
During his when they posted like the first image, that black and white image of
Yeah.
him and the younger actor by the speeder,
Yeah.
I remember going on there immediately and commenting like, "We all know he's gonna get a rat jacket,"
Yeah.
and the
At
response
least
from
the
that
jacket.
comment made
Yeah.
me laugh. Where they're like, "Oh yeah," and like, yeah, Ryan's always got a sick jacket. So
He really does. I wonder if that's in his people do have like these like strange things in their contracts.
cool
Um,
jacket.
Yeah, I've got at some point, listen, I'll do the movie, but at some point I need a rat jacket. Like that actor, Sam Rockwell. Do you know that
Yeah,
actor is
yeah,
Sam
yeah, yeah,
Rockwell? Yeah, yeah.
yeah.
He did Moon. He was in what I'm remembering is the Charlie's Angels movies, which I love. They're a guilty pleasure of mine. Um, but so he dances in that movie. But if you'll notice, he dances in every movie he's ever been in.
Oh my god.
I think that that's in his contract. It's very look. I think he has done movies where he doesn't do a dance. I actually just saw recently something recent that he was in that he didn't do a dance, and I was very upset. Wrote him a letter. What the? what is that? You've changed, bro. Who are you?
He's like, "Where's the dance?"
Where's the dance? Like, that's what I pay for. No, I'm kidding. I want my money back. Oh, yeah, just fucking, sending him DM. Sorry. Um, no, but he, very often, I would say 90% of his films, there's a little like dance scene, and I was like, I wonder if that's in his contract somewhere, or it's like, I will do the movie, but at some point, I'm putting on some like 70s like Motown, and I'm doing like a he does some dance moves. He's really good too. He's like a good dancer. Anyway, or off track.
No, I love it.
Ryan will have a great jacket, and we will all run and get it.
Yeah,
Release the
yeah,
jacket.
it's gonna be cool. I kinda wish they don't drop it because I feel like it needs to be a one of a kind
Yeah, yeah, yeah,
piece,
yeah.
but
No, 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 I
I'm
mean, just
excited.
images of it so that,
Oh,
like,
yeah,
yeah,
so
to
we
set
can
the costuming world ablaze. Some people will make it, some people will find a dupe and modify it, other people will, yeah, that's what I love about
yeah,
the costuming community. It's like an arms race. It's like, let's do it. Let's all do it. Let's all share information. This is how we make it. Yeah.
it's gonna be
Anyway.
cool.
Let's go into our what I was calling my lightning round. And these are just general questions. I'm gonna vary up like what order I do them in. I might even change them out for everyone. But that's sort of what I'm doing, and we'll do at the near the ends of the new sort of episodes. I hope everyone's liking it. It's just a chat with a friend. I feel like it just feels a lot better. It flows a lot better, I think. Anyway, so what would be your favorite, if you have one, your favorite obscure Star Wars character?
Oh my goodness, that's a good one. I think I oh my it's a hard one, actually. Obscure Star Wars character.
Yeah, or so, just a lesser known character. It doesn't have to be like, it doesn't have to be like a cantina, background character. It could be just a lesser known. Well, I'll tell you mine, right?
Okay,
I really love Aftab Akbar from the sequel trilogy, who
okay.
is Admiral Akbar's son, right? So he's a Mon Cal. He was in the movie, like he was, live action, right?
Huh?
But he's also been in a bunch of like comics and things like that. Um, he is a Mon Cal, right? And he has that like he's a very like grumpy looking young Mon Cal. Have you ever seen that?
Yeah, yeah, I have seen
Yeah,
him.
I love him. I love him. That would be, yeah, I have to get one of those masks because I love him. But that's what I mean, like people know about him, of course. Like he's Admiral Akbar's like son, you know.
Yeah.
But not many people really. I don't know.
I think I I think I've joked around with another friend about this. I think my one of my favorite characters, I probably have a handful of them,
Of course.
but it's oh my god, I think it's Powell
How?
from Rogue One, the alien with the big mouth.
Oh yes. Oh, that's such a good one. That's such a good one. That's such a good one. I love
Yeah.
those like one movie and done. Like we know that the species exist, but we never actually see them. And then when we see them, it's like it's amazing.
Yeah.
Yeah. There was that
Yeah.
one in Solo with the arms, which kind of looks like what's his name from the uh,
The
Eileen
arms.
Saloon from Jedi Survivor. Anyway, yeah, I love those kinds of characters.
Yeah.
Okay, so next up, I actually already asked you what inspires you. That was one of our um, things. What are the skills that you're most afraid of, or
Oh,
like that intimidate you, or if you have any?
so this one is it's funny. So I thought of it and I think it's not that I'm afraid of the thing,
Sure.
it's that once I learn it, there's no going back.
Okay. Okay. I
So I
like
think
that.
that's I kinda keep I specifically don't do certain things because I'm like, "Oh, it's gonna get insane." 3D printing, I'm like, "Thank
Okay.
goodness I haven't bought a 3D printer, and I don't plan
Yeah.
to because it'll take over my life." And then, I know simple stitching, I know how to do, hand
Sure.
stuff. I probably have more of a chance of getting into sewing,
Yeah.
like with the machine and everything. But I also think that would be another one that like it. I'm not that it's scary, but I know once I do it, I'm gonna be like
I
I'm gonna
I
build.
I get
Yeah.
you. Sewing is mine. Sewing is mine. Like I've done a few things, but they're really, rudimentary and kind of simple. Um, but I've done a bit, but it is that thing where it's like, do I buy a machine? Because that would I have been around a machine, and you know, but if I had one, I don't know that I would leave one for a while. Like I would want to be on that thing constantly, making small things and working my way up so that I could like learn it. And not that they're noisy or anything, but like, yeah, I can't do. I wouldn't be able to. So it's like, yeah, can't have a lot of noise. Yeah, I have to be quiet, quiet boy.
I don't want to get you in trouble.
Yeah, no, no, no. But yeah, sewing, yeah. Yeah, I think that's for a lot of people, they're intimidated by it. Not afraid of it, of course, but yeah, I would love that as well. Let's see. Obscure cat. Do you have how would you differentiate a cosplay and a bound? Do you have any thoughts on that?
Yeah, yeah. It's a good question. I think it's just a level of detail you're putting into it, and bound is something, and don't get me wrong. I think a bound is something you can get away with and go to a park and wear sneakers with. Um, but I think you can still implement a lot of small things that are inspired by a specific look, whether it's a character or a type, a rebel, imperial, whatever. Um, but a cosplay, I feel like it's much more detail oriented. There's less to break the like the fourth wall.
Yeah.
To me, it's always been something that you could see on camera, and you know, it, it all reads that character.
Yeah, screen ready is the term that I'd like to use. Like, it's difficult, right? Like, with like something like Burgundy Squadron, when you have people bringing these original characters, like it's difficult. Because you need these people to feel real, right? And you need them to feel screen ready and to be able to kind of slot in anywhere, right? That's why we decided to create original characters, right? We wanted them to feel like they exist. So if they can't actually exist, like you said, if they could just get sort of kind of pass, then maybe they're not fully realized, right? I don't know.
Yeah, yeah.
Um, Yeah. Do you have any? We've been talking about pet peeves in the cost and like cosplay. Do you have any pet peeves? Now, I can give you an example. We were talking about in another episode, and I think universally we all like don't like gatekeeping. I think this community is really generous with their time and their knowledge, and we all love to like share information, and like if we figure out how to do something differently, like I feel like everyone in the community is like they're the first ones to run back and say, oh my god, I figured this out, everyone like use this because it'll like make your life easier or whatever. There's a real joy in that. So when people don't do that, that's kind of a bummer, right? Would
Yeah,
you
I
have
think
anything? Yeah.
I think I think this is something that's very specific to what I do. It's similar to costuming. It has to do with that realm, but when we go to conventions or events and stuff like that,
Yeah.
I think something that's a pet peeve to me is that as a photographer, just as a decent human being, there's uh there's a level of honesty you have to have with people, and there's also a level of respect and consideration you have to have with clients and even just people you're just shooting day to day. I feel like, unfortunately, in the cosplay community, it feels like there's a lot of moments where lines are blurred,
Yeah.
where just because someone's in a costume doesn't give you the right to take their photo.
Right.
And I think specifically with all cosplayers, but specifically towards females or those that identify as female,
Yeah.
um, I think it's something that needs to change. It's something
Yes.
that people need to not necessarily go off on someone or be malice or anything about that, but there's ways of being and approaching people or the right way to do it and the wrong way to do it. And I think in the cosplay community, it's something that um, not that it will change, but it's something that you should always look for when you work with people, especially in
Mm.
the photography media industry, or they're doing something of the sorts. Have someone that is very transparent with you. Um, have someone, especially when it's someone that's in a vulnerable state. Um, don't go to a shoot by yourself. Go with
Yeah.
someone. Go with a friend. I'm a girl dad. I have two kids,
Yeah.
and they're both girls. I am very protective of people. So I think, in a sense, you need to be smart. Don't
Yeah.
trust everybody. Can be make sure that they're being very honest with you. And if you feel uncomfortable, even if it's in a public space like a con, you don't need to let anyone take your photo.
Yeah.
You don't owe them anything. You don't know them. You have a costume on does not mean anything.
Yeah.
You can
Yeah. Yeah.
simply diffuse
Cosplay
the
is not
situation
consent.
yourself. Yeah, exactly. So
Yeah.
I think that's something that is a pet peeve because when I see people do that, it's infuriating. And then also the fact
Yeah.
that if you're with someone, right? Let's say there's someone with their friend and they're in a costume and their friend's taking a photo of them. Me as a photographer doesn't give me the right to walk over and take a picture of them if I didn't ask them.
Right.
If someone else is working with someone that they know, don't start taking photos of the same thing, which is
Right.
weird because as
No, that's really
photographers,
important. Yeah.
yeah, because a few times I've had moments where I'm doing something and I can feel someone
Mhm.
in my peripheral and they're kind of trying to capture a moment that I'm like, you have nothing to do with this situation.
Yeah.
You also don't know the person that
Yeah, what
is
are you gonna
with
do with that
me.
photo? Like, yeah, are you gonna,
Exactly.
yeah.
And not once did they ask for permission. So that's just kind of, where my mind went when you asked that question.
Yeah, that's really interesting, right? Because it is like you do sometimes see that somebody's shooting and then other people will kind of, I don't know, think that it's a free for all kind of photo shoot when there's like, a dialogue that's happening between these two people who are working to create like an image together, and then someone else kind of, getting in there, and it's like, wait, that's uncomfortable for everyone involved, even you as the photographer, especially if you're there with with someone that you would call a client, and and are being paid to do something, that becomes a gray area that somebody's there. You wouldn't allow them if you had a studio shoot. You wouldn't allow people to just walk up from the street and start popping off frames.
Yeah. And I
Yeah,
think I think it even comes to the fact of like I don't think it bothers me too much on like the client basis because,
sure.
it it's more of like I try to treat people that I work with um very pretty much like friends. Like
Yeah,
I wouldn't if I was working with you or someone else, I wouldn't want you in a weird situation. I know
yeah,
being in a photo shoot or having photos taken of you is already a very vulnerable
yeah,
space to put yourself out there. The last thing I would want to do, and I take responsibility of doing that, is protecting that person to say, "You feel uncomfortable, let's get out of here," or "Let's
yeah.
something needs to change."
Yeah, that's great. That's a good one. Really, really good. That's really great. So what's on the horizon for you? What have you got next? What are you working on? Either costuming or just in general, anything that you might want to talk about.
I think the next thing coming up is I have a few projects that are all kind of jumbled together. Um, the next one I'm going to is I am going to attend Outpost 77. I'm going to
Mhm.
go to that in February, and we're going to meet up with some friends that we know. I'm going to be shooting some content there. Gabber's gonna be there, and
Yeah.
Emma and I are gonna say hi and stuff, and I'm not gonna leak anything but things.
I think Outpost 77 is the one that I will eventually have to go to as an immersive experience. I've got like well, actually the greatest scheduling conflict, for space dive. So I don't know if when I'll be able to attend that, but it's the combo of like my wife's birthday and our wedding anniversary is all within the same
Oh,
10 days in May.
congrats! That's worth missing. That's
No,
worth
of course it
like
is. Yeah, of
yeah.
course it is. But it's like it's always that for those first 2 weeks of May, and I'm like, I'm never gonna be able to do that. Like May, the entire month of May, and actually a little bit of April leading into May, and a little bit of like June afterwards is my wife's birthday.
Oh my goodness.
So
Yeah.
anyway, so I think
You can
Outpost
borrow
77 will
you can
have to
borrow
be
my
yeah.
you can borrow my fruit crate and sleep in there.
Yeah, you gotta smuggle me somehow. Yeah, yeah. In your Melurun
Yeah.
crate. But yeah,
Yeah, and
sorry, you were saying Outpost 77. Yeah,
the Outpost 77, I'll be there. And then a little bit after that, I'm actually going to be shooting the third Cantina crossover
yeah.
at Twin Suns Ranch. So it will be
Oh,
there. We're
okay,
basically putting it out there this year.
okay.
And yeah, we're gonna transform the outpost into some pretty cool stuff. So we're gonna do that. And then after
Oh no, I
that,
can't believe I'm gonna. I can't believe I'm gonna miss that. I didn't know it was gonna be there. Wait, and that's where they do Outpost 77, right? Twin Suns Ranch.
yeah, yeah, yeah. That's
Oh
the
my
official name of the
yeah,
property.
yeah,
I
yeah,
think
yeah.
that's like their label, and then Outpost 77 is one of the events that
It's the events,
they're
yeah,
held
that
there.
have
So
been yeah. Oh
yeah,
my god. I
yeah,
can't believe it. Well, I'm getting, I don't know when this will air, but if it'll be ahead of it or afterwards, but I am very very jealous. I can only make one trip to the States this year. So I had to really be strategic as to what I attend this year. So yeah, I usually try to do two, and one of them is around the March time, and the other one is at the end of the year at some point. I try to break it up that way. But I won't be doing a March trip, so I'm gonna have to miss this one, and I'm like dying inside. But yeah, now that I
it's
know that it's
okay. It's
there,
okay. There'll be more. There'll be
there'll
more.
be
Don't
more.
worry.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah,
That's what I love. Yeah, there'll be more. Um, yeah.
yeah. And then space dive.
Yeah.
I'm going to do my best to attend space dive. I was hoping to stay, like, actually be able to stay,
Yeah.
do, not have to, you know, light run over there, like, hit the boosters on the way. But I will
And then
be,
get
I'll
back in the
most like,
crate.
I know I'll be most likely attending the second weekend. Like most of the squadron members are going to be there,
Mhm.
but it's going to be a real fast turnaround. So I'm going to fly in, go to the event, and fly out red eye.
Yeah, I need your help with something. I think you should try to, if you will, try to communicate the second weekend is like the squadron weekend. Because if I ever am able to go, even if it's like next year or the year after to space dive, it would be
Second,
yeah, it would be the second one because there's no way I'd be able to go that first weekend, or because it's my wife's birthday.
I
But
feel
we always go away as well. So, but anyway, so I'll be somewhere. I'll be somewhere nice. Like I am like missing space dive, but I'm gonna be somewhere real nice though. So I can't like I can't be too upset about it because we just booked like where we're gonna go for that time, and it's nice.
oh, nice.
So I'm so excited. But yeah,
Yeah.
that's always in the way. But yeah, if you can help me communicate that the second weekend will always be the squadron weekend, I think in a year or two, I can maybe eke out that weekend somehow. Maybe we go away with my wife a little bit before her birthday and then come back like around the 7th, and I can turn around and just fly to California. or sorry, to Michigan, to Detroit. Anyway,
I think the second
maybe.
weekend I think the second weekend works out best. Not saying don't go, like,
Yeah,
those of you that are going, go, go, like,
yeah, of course, always,
support
always,
that
always,
place. It's
both
gonna
weekends.
but, for those flying in, I feel like it makes more sense because May 4th weekend, we usually, at least in Los Angeles, like,
Right,
or we have stuff going on. Like, we have
right.
places that, in the fandom you want to go to. So I've always picked the second weekend because then it's kind of on the back end of that, but then you still
Mhm.
want to have all the fun Star Wars stuff, so you can fly out to Detroit, have a great time, and then come back home. So it just extends your you know fun.
Yeah, that's a good point. But yeah, maybe Outpost 77, or maybe, maybe not this Cantina crossover, but maybe next year's will be in, Twin Suns Ranch as well. So maybe I'll join you then. But also we have Celebration. So that's going to throw a curveball for
When is
2027.
when is celebration again?
Is it in June? Let me look it up really quick.
Okay.
Is it in June?
'Cause that was the one that I spoke to a few people, and that year, it's gonna be the same it has to be the same general time because so
Oh,
many people
even
are gonna
better. Even
so many
better.
people yeah,
April 1st to the 4th. What do you
yeah,
think?
yeah. I'm definitely gonna for that year, right when we got the announcement for that Star Wars
Mhm.
Celebration, and it's in, LA, or is it LA or is it
Yes,
San Diego? Okay, so
Los
LA.
Angeles, yeah,
Um, specifically wanted to throw a Cantina crossover that week,
and
like
coordinate.
that
I
that
will be
just
there.
just so it's like the after party or the day after or whatever, what
Yeah,
have you, we're gonna figure it out, but you can go to Star Wars Celebration, you can have fun, and then you can come over to us and then just
yeah.
go, nerd out even more, and we'll go take some rad photos, so,
I'm in,
yeah,
I'm in.
it'll be
I'm in
it'll
for
be a
that one.
lot. Okay, cool.
Literally count me in because I am going to Celebration, hell or high water. Like, it
Okay,
doesn't. Yeah, I'm not
yeah,
gonna miss that one. Literally the minute the tickets go on sale, I'm just gonna buy the full weekend.
okay.
and and then figure out the plans to go later, because it's always like a year earlier that they sell tickets or they start to sell tickets and stuff. So I'm gonna do that. I did the same thing with Rebel Scum Con. I have the tickets for that, and it's in August. I will be that will be my trip to the States this year. It'll be in August, and I'll be at Rebel Scum Con and spend some time there. So if anyone listening to this will be at that, hit me up because you know, that's essentially a local con. Well, I don't live in the States anymore, but that would have been my most local. It's like 10 minutes from where I am.
Oh, side point, side point. When you do come into LA,
Yeah.
there's a very good chocolate croissant place I know.
Oh,
It's,
okay.
like, very local, and I'm like, I know you have a thing for chocolate croissants.
I do.
So, I was like I tried that place, it's phenomenal, it's pretty close to our place, so I'm like, "When Billy is
Yeah.
finally in LA again, we gotta go
Yeah.
stop and get some."
Yeah, I think I'm gonna do, I don't know how I'm gonna do it. Maybe I don't know if my wife will want to go to the United States. But I was thinking maybe I'll bring her along and we'll make a trip out of it and I'll stay for like, much longer than the actual con. Because obviously um, I'll have to check bags and stuff. Like I'd want to go all out, like costuming wise. So I would need to bring a lot of stuff with me. Um,
You gonna bring your
so
Mando?
I don't know. I don't know if I could travel with that, but um, definitely,
Everything else?
definitely my Rhodian.
Yeah.
Definitely,
Merchant?
I'll
The
definitely
merchant,
put on
yeah.
the merchant would be good. Those would be my
Okay.
dreams, and I think it might. Yeah, I think it might entail me shipping some stuff and then and then packing some stuff as well. Because the thing about the merchant, oh, I love that costume, but the hat is really big. How do you pack for something like that? I can't even put it I mean, I guess I can put it in a box and ship it, but like I can't make a crate for that. It would be a huge like crate for it.
Billy, you wear it. You wear it through the airport.
I was thinking that, right? Because
Just
people,
wear it.
sometimes people come back from like their holidays in Mexico and stuff, and they've gone to Cancun and they did I don't know, a bachelorette party, and they come back with sombreros, right?
Yeah,
And they wear them on the plane, and my hat is smaller than a sombrero. So would I be able to just wear it and be like,
some
"What? This is my this is
something
my."
I learned between the trip I went to Texas to go see you, right, for your shoot,
Yeah.
and then when I went to space dive is that I didn't have time to change, right?
Yeah.
When I went to space dive, I went in full kit. Like,
Oof.
I'm just wearing these. These boots are Chelsea's, I can slip them off. The only
Yeah.
thing I didn't put on was, like, my leg wraps when I
Yeah.
shoved those in my bag, stuff that was, like, excessive.
Yeah.
I wore everything. So I
Yeah.
went through TSA, they checked my stuff. I don't carry a blaster.
Right.
So they looked at my gear, they looked at me like kinda like I thought they were gonna be weird about it, and they were like, "Oh, this is 3D printed. This is what." They cared less about what the thing was, more of like, obviously, they have to put it through a scanner,
Yeah.
and then they handed me my stuff and were like, "Okay." I
Yeah.
don't think they even noticed me.
No, I also always tell people that like those machines are no longer X-ray machines per se. Like they can see in your bag, but they're looking at materials.
Mhm,
And what they're looking for is metal. Like,
mhm,
so even if you have like weird looking props and stuff, so long as it doesn't like look visibly like an Acme Looney Tunes bomb or something, or like something that's like gun shaped, like
yeah,
they won't even look at it, like because it's a piece of plastic. Like they're not going to really sort of think of it unless it looks, dangerous in whatever way. But what they're really looking for is metal. Like,
yeah.
you know?
I honestly think you could, I mean, not that you would. I really think you could wear the merchant
Yeah.
full
Yes.
on. Not
Yes.
that you could though
Yeah.
walk through, because I don't think there's anything on you that would be even posed as a problem. But like I said,
No, he doesn't carry a blaster, but it is a big hat. Yeah.
I
I
think the only
obviously
thing that
wouldn't
would,
wear my sort of black thing to cover my face, obviously,
yeah,
but yeah.
I think the only thing that might be not concerning, but I remember when you were showing the details of the hat, you
Mhm.
have some like wire
I do.
wrapped into
Yep.
the
There's
rim, right? I think
quite a bit
that's
of
the only
wire.
thing that, yeah, that might be like, "Oh, what that's metal. That's a wire.
Yeah.
Why is it in there?" So, maybe.
Yeah, but you'd have to take your hat off anyway, to go through the metal detector, so they would have to go through the machine. And I think now they test for metal and what kind of metal. Like I think it would be fine. It's just it's just big. So that would be my concern. Me sitting in a plane seat, having to wear this hat for that's a long flight, my friend.
Well, if you do have to ship anything, you have plenty of people here
Of
that will
course, of course.
gladly receive the box and
Yeah.
keep it safe, so
I think that's what eventually will have to happen. Yeah, I'm thinking about Rebel ScumCon. Well, like, what am I gonna take? It's 3 days, so I'm thinking about like, what am I going to wear out there? And I think it's gonna be my Rhodian, and I think it's gonna be Maddox is always easy to travel with, but yeah. But we'll see. We'll see. Anyway, I've kept you for over an hour now.
okay.
I forgot that we were just chatting now. Were we making plans to like meet up? I think for the last 20 minutes. I think it was.
It's okay.
Why do you tell people where they could find you online? Yeah.
Yeah, if you wanna see some, in-universe photography and storytelling, tied into it, you can find me on Instagram, under Holoscan Database. It's all one word, and, yeah, so there we just create really cool stories specifically for original characters in the, Outer Rim universe, and if you're ever interested in booking or going to talk about nerdy stuff in photography, hit me up.
Great, great, great. Thanks so much for being on. This was kind of like last minute. I'm doing shotgun, but like 6 episodes in the next day. I've done. This will be my third now. I'm halfway there. Thanks so much for being on. I very much appreciate it. I was looking forward to this chat, and yeah, thanks so much. See you next time, everyone. And say goodbye to Craig, our little bear droid.